The Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We are located on the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. Today is the 15th of March, 2018. It's Thursday. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, and your radio hosts today are Clark and
Nancy.
And we will be reading the news for today's edition of the Fayettville Observer.
And we're going to begin today with your weather, Thursday, March 15th, 2018. Today, it's going to be a high of 65. Doesn't feel like it now, but 65 degrees. Mostly sunny and breezy. Tonight, it will go down to 45. Tomorrow, Friday, we'll have a high of 69 and a low of 40. Periods of clouds and sunshine. Moving to Saturday, we'll have a high of 66 and a low of 45. Cloudy, showers around in the PM. Sunday, we have a high of 65, a low of 44. Clouds and sunshine. Moving to Monday, we have a high of 61, a low of 52. Cloudy with spotty showers. Going to Tuesday, we have a high of 69, a low of 40, rain and drizzle possible. And Wednesday, we have a high of 60, a low of 34, and a beautiful sunny day. And there is your weather for today, Thursday, March 15th, 2018, from the Fayetteville Observer.
We have an applause today. We have three of them, actually. The first applause goes to Erica Garcia of Fayetteville. Erica was named to the Fall 2017 Dean's List at Olivet Nazarene University in Bourbonnais, Illinois. The second applause goes to Jamie Heron of Spring Lake. Jamie was named to the Fall 2017 Dean's List at Central College in Pella, Iowa. And the third applause goes to Brianna Beaumont of Dunn. Brianna was named to the Fall 2017 Dean's List at Hofstra University in Hempstead, New York. Today in history. Today is Thursday, 15 March, the 74th day of the year 2018. There are 291 days left in the year. Today's historical highlight is on March 15th, 1493, Italian explorer Christopher Columbus arrived back in the Spanish harbor of Palos de la Frontera 2 months after concluding his first voyage to the Western Hemisphere. On today's date in 44 BC, Roman dictator Julius Caesar was assassinated by a group of nobles that included Brutus and Cassius. On today's date in 1767, the 7th President of the United States of America, Andrew Jackson, was born at the Waxhaw Settlement along the North Carolina-South Carolina state line. On today's date in 1820, the state of Maine became the 23rd state of the United States. That's in 1820. On today's date in 1917, Tsar Nicholas II abdicated in favor of his brother, Grand Duke Mikhail Alexandrovich, who declined the crown, marking the end of the imperial rule in Russia. On today's date in 1922, Sultan Fuad I proclaimed himself the first king of modern Egypt. On today's date in 1937, America's first hospital, blood bank, was opened at Cook County Hospital in Illinois. And finally, on today's date in 1944, during World War II, Allied bombers again raided German-held Monte Cassino. Today's celebrity local birthdays: on March 15th, Lori Garber was born. Happy birthday to our local celebrity birthday person, Lori Garber. Happy birthday. And other birthdays in the news, musician DJ Fontana is 87. Astronaut Alan L. Bean is 86. Actor Judd Hirsch is 83. Rock musician Phil Lesh is 78. Singer Mike Love of the Beach Boys is 77. Rock singer-musician Sly Stone is 75. Rock singer-musician Howard Scott of War the Lowrider Band. Howard Scott is 72 today. Rock singer Ry Cooter is 71. Rock singer Dee Snider of Twisted Sister is 63. Model Fabio is 57. Rock singer Bret Michaels of the band Poison is 55. Actress Kim Raver is 49. Actress Ava Longoria is 43. Rapper musician Will I Am of the Black Eyed Peas is 43. Rapper Young Buck is 37. And wrapping it all up is actress Caitlin Walks. She's 29.
All right, and we have our daybreak need to know. Number 1, women in the workplace. Cumberland County District Court Judge Tiffany Whitfield and former State Senator Margaret Dixon will discuss their experiences as working women as part of a panel discussion today at Methodist University. The Wonder Women panel and networking event will be in the Burns Student Center on campus. It is free and open to the public. A networking reception is scheduled for 6:30 p.m., followed by the panel discussion at 7. Donations of feminine hygiene products are requested but are not required. Number 2, we have an agriculture symposium at Grays Creek FFA. Will offer workshops on gardening, backyard poultry, beekeeping, animal care, and more for adults and students during an agriculture symposium Saturday from 9 to noon at Grays Creek High School. There will be refreshments and door prizes. Register at grayscreek.com. The event is free. Number 3, you have a leprechaun hunt. Maggie. Explore the Cape Fear Botanical Garden, looking for leprechauns on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Participants who complete a lucky passport earn a prize. This activity is self-led with a parent and can be done anytime during business hours. And the event is free for garden members, regular admission for non-members. Number 4, the Mirror Lake Dam Open House. The city will hold an open house about the reconstruction of the Mirror Lake Dam today from 6 to 8 p.m. at Van Story Hills Elementary School, 400 Foxhall Road. City staff will reveal the preliminary design for the dam and answer questions. A portion of Mirror Lake Drive and the dam were damaged by Hurricane Matthew in October 2016. Now we want to hear from you. Please submit your events in writing at least 10 days in advance, or you may email your calendar at fayobserver.com, or you may fax your details to 486-3545. If you have any questions, you may call 486-3500.
And in the local news today, something that everybody is probably going to be excited about is that the PWC board okays their rate increase. That's right, I knew you would be excited. Utility customers will also see a $2 coal ash fee. The Fayetteville Public Works Commission Board approved an electric rate increase following a public hearing Wednesday morning. Most of what a customer pays PWC for electricity goes directly to our power supply costs. PWC Chairman Wade Fowler said, 90% of the increase adopted today goes directly to our power supply cost from Duke, and those costs are projected to increase nearly $10 million in the next 4 years. In February, the NC Utilities Commission approved rate increases for Duke Energy Progress. In addition to the rate increase, the PWC board also approved a coal ash fee of $2 until 2024 to fund PWC's required portion of the Duke Energy Coal Ash Cleanup Program. These costs are coming because the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission allowed Duke Energy to recover its cleanup cost from the customers, and the PWC portion of that $2 billion cleanup is estimated to be $60 million to $70 million. PWC is using reserve accounts to pay most of the money needed, and the $2 fee charges for PWC residential customers will be collected through the year 2014. Without the reserves, the coal ash fee would be $10 per PWC customer. Two people spoke at the meeting against the changes. Their main concerns were due to the coal ash fee. Why are we paying for their disposal of the coal ash and the pollution they are causing? Joe Corrado said. In addition, about a dozen people wrote letters in opposition to the increase. Their letters were read aloud during the meeting. Many shared the same concern, as well as concerns about higher prices in general. Fowler, the board chairman, said he was upset about the state's decision, but the PWC is legally obligated to pay for a portion of the cleanup that Duke Energy caused. Unfortunately, we are not allowed to not pay it, and so we are forced to pay it whether we like it or not, said Fowler. The remaining funds will pay for improvements and maintenance for the current system. These projects include replacement of existing underground cable, transmission poles, and electric substations. The current basic facility charge for residential usage is $15, and the proposed basic facility charge for residential would be $17.50 for a single phase service charge and $22.50 for a three-phase service charge. The proposed energy charge would go up to 0.1010 per kilowatt hour from 0.10040 per kilowatt hour. If a residential customer uses 1,000 kilowatt hours in a billing cycle, the bill would go from about $115.40 to $118.50. PW spokeswoman Carolyn Justice Henson said, PWC strives to provide safe and reliable services and maintain responsible, competitive rates. PWC General Manager Dave Trago said, our electric rates remain among the lowest, and in fact, next to the lowest, only to Duke Energy in Fayetteville / Cumberland County. When PW customers compare their bills to other electric providers, customers that also have water and or sewer service from PWC should compare only the electric portion of their bill to to those other electric providers in our area, including Duke Energy, Lumbee River, and South River, who do not provide water or sewer service to their customers. But I have a question: is how do you compare those when you don't have a bill from those other electric providers? How do you do that, Nancy?
I don't know.
I wouldn't know how to do that. Do we get a bill from Duke Energy?
Nope.
Do we get a bill from Lumbee River
No,
and South River?
we don't.
Well, how can you compare PwC bills to those other two providers?
Well, you can't.
I don't see how you can do it. But at any rate, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a question about this article, about the PwC board increase, OK's rate increase for all of the PwC customers, you may write Monica Vendituoli at mvendituoli@fayobserver.com, or if it's easier, call Monica Vendituoli at 910-486-3596.
All right, now we have an article by Leonard Pitts Jr. Title of it is In Defense of Cultural Appropriation. Okay, I'm here to defend cultural appropriation, or cross-cultural influence would be the less pejorative phrase. But the term above, with its connotations of grand theft culture, is the one favored by some African American activists who've had it up to here with non-black performers performing the soul and style of Michael, Marvin, and Prince. Singer Bruno Mars is the latest to feel their ire. Mars, son of a Filipino mom and a Puerto Rican Ashkenazi Jewish dad, has been ubiquitous in recent years with a high-octane style fueled by hip-hop, funk, and other African-American idioms. A few days ago, he was the object of a heated debate on the Grapevine, an internet series on African-American issues. Panelist Serene Sensei ripped him a new one. As she sees it, Mars' success proves that many Americans prefer their black music and their black culture from a non-black face. Mars, she says, is a karaoke singer, a wedding singer, the person you hire to do Michael Jackson and Prince covers. Yet Bruno Mars has an Album of the Year Grammy, and Prince never won an Album of the Year Grammy. Twitter lit up like a Christmas tree. Mars was defended by many African Americans, including R&B legend Charlie Wilson, who called him a genuine talent, pure and simple. Of course, nothing is ever pure and simple when it comes to this question of who has the right to exploit black culture. In her rant on the Grapevine, Sensei left the impression she thinks this is a new argument. It's not. To the contrary. It goes back through Eminem and Vanilla Ice, through Hall and Oates and Elton John, through the Doobie and the Righteous Brothers, goes back through Memphis music impresario Sam Phillips, who famously mused, if I could find a white man who had the Negro sound and the Negro feel, I could make $1 billion. Then Elvis walked into his life. But it goes back before Elvis too, back to swing era titans like Benny Goodman, and before that to the white vaudevillians performing in blackface, for both good and bad, in other words, blackface. The mimicry of African American soul and style has always been a staple of American culture, particularly in music. Would we want it any other way? Do we really want to say that one may not paint a picture, dance a dance, or sing a song from outside one's own culture? If that's a world without Bruno Mars, well, it's also a world without country music star Darius Rucker, heavy metal artist Ice-T, and opera singer Leonte Price. You can't put art in a straitjacket. That's what makes it art. Moreover, culture is an exchange, a give and take. And in this polyglot nation, you could no more restrict the influence of African American music to African American people than you could strain out the Kool-Aid powder after it hits the water. Yes, I take Sensei's larger point. America has a long history of preferring black culture without the inconvenience of black people. That's why Phillips was right and Elvis reached heights unthinkable for Little Richard and Chuck Berry. Might also be why Mars won a Grammy that Prince never did, which speaks to the endurance of the color-coded rules by which advantage and disadvantage have always been melted out. In other words, racism. But that will still be here if Bruno Mars goes country tomorrow. So it's pointless to be angry with him over cultural appropriation. If you want to be angry that there remains some truth in what Sam Phillips said over 65 years later. Make a liar out of him, and everything else will take care of itself. Now, Leonard Pitts is a columnist for the Miami Herald, 1 Herald Plaza, Miami, Florida, 33132. And readers, you may contact him via his email at lpitts@miamiherald.com.
And today's public safety in Cumberland County is, there are several arrests, and the first one is Jonathan Ryan Jones, age 32, of the 5900 block of Huntington Ridge Road in Hope Mills, was charged Wednesday with 5 counts of financial card theft, 3 counts of obtaining property by false pretense, and 1 count breaking and entering a motor vehicle, misdemeanor larceny, and misdemeanor possession of stolen property. Jonathan Ryan Jones's bail was set at $11,000. Daniel Poole III was charged Tuesday with third-degree burglary, and Daniel Poole III's bail was set at $10,000. Brandon David Matthews, age 22, of the 600 block of Elliott Farm Road, was charged Tuesday with assault inflicting serious injury by strangulation, misdemeanor assault on a female, and misdemeanor child abuse. Brandon David Matthews, age 22, his bail was set at $32,000. And next we have, in Cumberland County, your public safety is break-ins. There was a break-in on Person Street at the Wiener Works at 319 Person Street. It was reported at 5:11 a.m. Wednesday that nothing was missing. And on Valdez Court on the 6300 block, it was reported at 7:55 p.m. Tuesday that nothing was missing. And on Dick Street on the 300 block, it was reported at 3:27 p.m. Tuesday that faucets and metal items were taken. Finally, the last break-in, it was in Stedman at Maxwell Road, and it was reported at 8:28 a.m. on Monday that a refrigerator and a water tank were taken. And this wraps up your public safety in Cumberland County today, 15 March 2018.
All right, now here's an article by Myron B. Pitts. The title of it is, "It is Time for Our Voices to be Heard." You have a picture of students at Massey Hill Classical High School, and they joined for 17 minutes of silence on Wednesday in honor of each victim killed in the Parkland, Florida school shooting. I have heard some folks ask why the students walked out of schools on Wednesday. Life presents tough questions sometimes. This is not one. These kids walked out to save their own lives, and I'm proud of them, inspired by them. Many Cumberland County school students held a protest or vigil as part of the National School Walkout. But the school system said in a news release it was uncertain how many schools took part. The children would not have faced discipline if they had followed the student code of conduct, the release said. At 10 a.m., the students were given time and space to block off 17 minutes to remember the 17 people shot and killed on Valentine's Day at a school in Parkland, Florida. Lauren Alica, senior at Massey Hill Classical High School, said she thought it was important to participate in the protest because school shootings were a recurring problem. It is time for our voices to be heard, she said. It's time for laws to start changing. At Massey Hill, the protest was mostly silent. Students walked out into the yard behind the school, which faces Camden Road. Teachers and staff members were on hand to help keep the students safe, according to Principal Pamela Adams-Watkins. The Fayetteville Police Department posted officers in cruisers in front of the school on Southern Avenue and on Camden Road. Several students faced their classmates and held pictures of the victims of the Parkland shooting, which took the lives of 14 students and 3 adults. The sign says, "This minute is for," followed by the victim's name and age. Lauren said this gave all of us students a chance to take a stand while honoring these 17 victims at the same time. As I was standing there, taking in every minute of the names being called, it made me feel remorseful for the victims and their families. It was a beautiful thing to stand outside in silence and remember these people. Survivors of the Parkland shooting, their families, and other activists have pressed for new legislation to restrict guns. Last week, the conservative Florida legislature passed its first gun control bill in 20 years. The state is reeling in the wake of mass shootings in the past few years that have taken 71 lives. Among other things, the new law raises the age to purchase guns from 18 to 21, creates a waiting period to purchase guns, bans bump stocks that make it easier to convert semi-automatic weapons into automatic ones, and authorizes arming of certain school personnel. It was a bill opposed by the National Rifle Association, a group not accustomed to legislative losses. Republican Florida Governor Rick Scott signed the bipartisan legislation surrounded by family members of the Parkland victims. "You helped change our state," he said. "You made a difference. You should be proud." In Cumberland County, the school system is planning to start a school angel program that puts volunteers at schools to act as eyes and ears, though they will not serve in a security capacity. Meanwhile, people expecting or hoping the teenagers to drift off to their iPhones or college plans and forget this issue have a wake-up call coming. In just 1 month since Parkland, the teenagers have already moved the conversation on stopping mass shootings. These kids walked out because the adults who were supposed to have all the answers have done little since Columbine. That tragedy, which started America's modern era of mass shootings, will reach its 20th anniversary next spring. This week, activists seated on the Capitol lawn in Washington 7,000 pairs of shoes to illustrate the number of children who have died in gun violence since the 2012 shooting at an elementary school in Newtown, Connecticut. "I'm hoping that in the future things will change for the better," Lauren says, "but it all starts here. We as people all have to work together as one to make the changes for our future." Now, columnist Myron B. Pitts can be reached at mpitts@fayobserver.com, or you may call Myron at 486-3559.
And now, here's a little something of interest. A veteran who was not dead is alive again. A Fayetteville veteran who was erroneously declared dead has been resurrected by the Department of Veterans Affairs. Charles Covell a Vietnam veteran and retired U.S. Postal Service worker, told the Fayetteville Observer last week that he was surprised to learn of his death in late February of this year. Charles Covell, his wife, Marcy, first realized that something was wrong when his monthly disability payment check from the VA was not deposited into the couple's bank account. Probably an electronic funds transfer, which most of us have that done. They later learned that someone filed his death certificate for Charles Covell in January. On Tuesday, a spokeswoman from U.S. Representative Richard Hudson's office said that the Veterans Affairs had notified them that the mistake had been corrected and that the disability payment that had previously been held was released to the veteran's bank account. Charles Covell, age 81, spent a combined 12 years in the Army and served with the 82nd Airborne Division and the 5th Special Forces Group at Fort Bragg. He was one of hundreds of veterans each year who have had their VA benefits erroneously suspended. Many of the mistakes are caused by information reported by the Social Security Administration, according to a VA spokesman. The VA works with the agency, that's the Social Security Administration, to prevent overpayments by matching death records to a Veterans Affairs database. Between October 2016 and September 2017, the Veterans Affairs suspended benefits for 105,529 beneficiaries who were identified as having died. According to the VA, of those, 245 beneficiaries were later found out to have been erroneously included among those suspensions, and that equates to a 99.77% accuracy rate, the VA spokesman said. While the error rates are small, they are still unacceptable, especially when it comes to your money, and VA has taken steps to improve our processes. Charles Covell's death was not the first time he has fallen victim to a paperwork mistake. More than 50 years earlier, Charles Covell survived a Viet Cong ambush in Vietnam and was honored for heroics during the battle. But he had to wait more than 4 decades, that's 40 years, to receive the medal after the original paperwork was lost in that bureaucratic system the Army has. He received his Bronze Star Medal for Valor in 2006 and was recognized for his heroics that took place in the year 1965. Charles Covell's death occurred when the VA confused him with the late Charles Covell from New York State. The Reverend Charles R. Covell died in September 2011, according to an obituary published in the Observer Dispatch, which is a newspaper based in Utica, New York. Aside from a name, the two men had other things in common. The Reverend Covell was also a paratrooper serving in the Korean War and the Army's 11th Airborne Division. This article was written by Drew Brooks. He is the military editor for the Fayetteville Observer. If you would like to discuss this article further with Drew Brooks, you may do so by calling him directly at 910-486-3567. And I can see that it is 10:35 in the morning, and it's my time to tell you that this is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service. It is a United Way partner agency, and we broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations, and we request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina radio reading service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at 910-672-1600 or call the toll-free number 844-709-5656. I would also like to remind you about the 8th annual golf tournament. It's called We Read Radio. Read to the blind through radio. This is a partner agency of the United Way, and we are requesting your help with our 8th annual golf tournament, which will be on the 7th of April 2018, with either a whole sponsorship for $100 or team participation. In an effort to support our mission and continue financial success, there will be, again, the 8th annual golf tournament on Saturday, 7 April 2018 at the Gates 4 Golf and Country Club. It begins at 11 a.m. and the tee-off time is 12 p.m. noontime. With your support of $100, your sponsorship will include additional advertisement and whole signage. A corporate sponsorship of $300 will include all of the above, and 4 players will be eligible to play for free. Your donation is tax deductible. So remember that the 8th annual golf tournament will be at the Gates 4 Golf and Country Club on the 7th of April 2018. Be there at 11 a.m. to sign in, and tee-off time is 12 noon. Your radio hosts today are Clark and
Nancy.
And we are proud to serve you today.
Now, Clark, do you think mailmen have a dangerous job?
Yes, I do. They get chased by dogs. They sometimes almost get hit by people driving cars really fast down the street. And a whole lot of things like paper cuts.
Well, you're not going to like this story. It's
Uh-oh.
true.
What's it about?
A mailman who was hit and died.
Hit by a car, just like I said, right?
Yep. Lawsuit filed in letter carrier's death.
Oh, was he chased by a dog and then got hit?
No.
Oh, okay.
The wife of Fayetteville City Councilman Larry Wright is being sued in the death of a Fayetteville letter carrier. Letter carrier Ricky Armwood of Sampson County was killed October 31st in a car crash with Deborah Jean Wright. She rear-ended his U.S. Postal Service truck while he was delivering mail on Morganton Road in Fayetteville. Armwood's widow, Janice Marie Armwood, filed the wrongful death lawsuit on behalf of Ricky Armwood's estate Tuesday in Robeson County Superior Court. It names Wright and her church Heal the Land Outreach Ministries as the defendants. The Wrights founded the church. Councilman Wright is not being sued. Separate from the lawsuit, Deborah Wright faces a charge of misdemeanor death by motor vehicle in Ricky Armwood's death. The criminal charge was scheduled to be heard Wednesday in Cumberland County District Court, but the prosecution and defense agreed to put off the case. The next court date is May 9th. The civil lawsuit seeks at least $25,000 in damages plus lawyer fees. The goals of the litigation is not just money, said lawyer William Owen, who is representing the estate. We could get money without the lawsuit. It's to find out more about the facts leading up to the accident. A lawsuit brings the power of the court to bear to force parties and agencies to give up information that they might otherwise not share, Owen said. Also, Owen said, the family wants to call attention to the public safety factor. My clients are interested in the community just understanding how dangerous it is for mail carriers, Owen said. People are not paying attention. I think there's been a lot of close calls before. The lawsuit alleges that around 12:25 p.m. on October 31st, Armwood had stopped his mail truck on Morganton Road to deliver mail to nearby homes. It says that per post office policy and practice, Armwood was parked by the side of the road but in a travel lane and had his amber lights flashing to warn oncoming traffic he was there. Wright was traveling about 40 miles per hour and failed to reduce speed, the lawsuit said. She hit the mail truck from behind. The suit says the Postal Service truck flipped onto its side and Armwood was crushed underneath. The suit accuses Wright of violating North Carolina's law that prohibits texting on his cell phone while driving.
Oh.
She has not been accused of this by law enforcement. Her lawyer, Jonathan Charleston of Fayetteville, says it's untrue. She was not texting at the time of the accident. She was not on her cell phone at the time of the accident, Charleston said Wednesday. Owen said he put that accusation in the complaint because the notation on the police department crash report describes Wright as being distracted at the time of the crash. The notation, a code number in a box in the right margin of the report, does not indicate what might have distracted Wright. Charleston said police reports aren't always accurate. There's no evidence or other information to suggest to us that there was any basis in the report to suggest she was distracted in any way, he said. The church was named as a defendant, Owen said, because he does not know whether Wright has conducted church business at the time of the crash. If she was, the church would share the liability, he said. Wright was put on a personal errand, Charleston said, that had nothing to do with the church. Wright is remorseful, he said. My client is extremely saddened by the loss of life resulting from this accident, he said. She's extremely sorry for his family's loss, and she deals with that every day. Now, staff writer Paul Wolverton can be reached at pwolverton@fayetteobserver.com, or you can call Paul at 486-3512.
And there was a fight at a business that led to a shooting.
Uh-oh.
A fight that started in a business in the Sycamore Square Shopping Center on Bragg Boulevard on Wednesday afternoon ended when one man shot the other in the chest, according to arrest documents in the Cumberland County Magistrate's Office. Nelando Maxwell Gordon, age 34, of the 400 block of Trade Winds Drive in Fayetteville, is charged with assault with intent to kill, inflicting serious injury, and assault inflicting serious injury. The shooting happened inside Ace Cash Express, a financial service provider, about 3:45 p.m., the document said. Nelando Maxwell Gordon told police that he went into the business to send $350 to Jamaica. He filled out the paperwork and gave it to a teller, but said she began giving him a hard time, documents said. At that point, Nelando Gordon said he raised his voice to her and told her to go ahead and send the money to the address in his paperwork. Sean Quinones, age 23, of Hope Mills, approached Nelando Maxwell Gordon and told him to back off from the teller, saying, "You don't want any of this." The paperwork did not indicate whether Sean Quinones was a customer or an employee. Sean Quinones began punching Yolando Maxwell Gordon in the face, so he swung back. Both grabbed each other's shirts, and began tussling, the document said. Yolando Gordon pushed Sean Quinones away from him, pulled out a revolver, and shot him, the document said. Sean Quinones ran out of the business into the parking lot, where he collapsed. Yolando Gordon went back inside of the business, called 911, and waited for the police to arrive. A witness who was in the parking lot facing the business gave the same account that Yolando Maxwell Gordon gave. Sean Quinones was taken to Cape Fear Valley Medical Center, where he was being treated for a collapsed lung. The bullet hit the right side of his chest, and it traveled through his right lung and exited out of his back, the document said. Sean Quinones, age 23, was listed in fair condition Wednesday night. Yolando Maxwell Gordon's bail, however, was set at $250,000. If you have any questions about this fight at a business that led to a shooting, you can call Nancy McCleary directly, because she wrote this little article, at 910-486-3568.
All right, we have a letter to the editor. This is written by Dan Barton from Fayetteville. The title of it is Obama's Bad Decisions. You think President Obama was a patriotic American? The DEA, FBI discovered that Hezbollah, a Shiite Muslim terror militia based in Lebanon, tied to Iran, was involved in smuggling heroin into the USA and other places. The DEA created Project Cassandra to go after them, but the Obama administration from the top down impeded it, thus protecting Hezbollah. One Obama official conceded it was done to not rock the boat and jeopardize the Iranian nuke deal. Israel was spying on General Soleimani, the leader of Quds Force of Iran's military, who was in Damascus supporting Syria's Bashar Assad. Israel was on the verge of assassinating this general. Quds Force was a big supporter of the Shiite militias in Iraq battling the USA, and provided and trained them with advanced IEDs. Those IEDs are responsible for numerous deaths, injuries, and dismemberments of U.S. troops. However, when Israel notified the USA of its plan to assassinate this general, Obama passed the intelligence to Iran to get the general to safety. This is the same president who, during his tenure, advanced military drone being used in the Iraqi war somehow flew over the Iranian border and crash-landed. We knew exactly where it was and could have used U.S. warplanes to totally destroy it, so the Iranians could not use its technology. Instead of doing so, Obama chose to ask the Iranians to give it back. The Iranians instead dismantled it, copied it, and are now flying advanced drones just like ours. Thanks, Obama. Again, this is from Dan Barton in Fayetteville. Now, listeners, we welcome your letters. Please write about current topics of general interest. The letters will be edited and you cannot exceed 250 words. Please include your name, street address, and daytime phone. Your name and hometown will be published. No poetry, open, or anonymous letters. We encourage civility. 4 weeks must elapse between letters from the same writer. Letters must be original by the person who signs the letter and exclusive to this newspaper. Write to the editorial page, editor, the Fayetteville Observer, P.O. Box 849, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28302. Or you may email your letter at eletters@fayobserver.com.
Charges were added for the hotel robbery suspects. 2 of the 3 men charged in a robbery attempt in the parking lot of the Extended Stay America Hotel on Owen Drive earlier this month are now accused of breaking into vehicles and stealing property. Christopher Sean Grubbs, 29, age 29, of the 700 block of Old Wilmington Road, and Malike Akim Jean Newsom, age 24, of the 4900 block of Fieldcrest Drive, were charged Wednesday with 3 counts of each of conspiracy and breaking and entering a motor vehicle, 2 counts each of larceny and possessing stolen property, and 1 count of each of misdemeanor larceny and misdemeanor possession of stolen property. On March 8th, the same day of the attempted robbery, Christopher Sean Grubbs and Malike Akim Jean Newsom are accused of breaking into 2 vehicles and taking property with a total value of $6,950, according to arrest warrants in the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office. The property allegedly taken by the 2 included an industrial cutting machine, a bowling ball bag and a bowling ball, a bag of golf clubs, power tools, a designer handbag, electronics and cosmetics, the warrant said. Bail for these charges was set at $42,500 for Malike Akim Jean Newsom and $14,500 for Christopher Sean Grubbs. Newsom and Grubbs and Antoine Cavan Lawrence, age 29, are accused of trying to rob a man in the parking lot of the hotel at Owen and Walter Reed Drive. On March 8th, Lawrence and Newsom, both of them with guns, attempted to rob a man who was looking for something in the trunk of his car. The victim managed to get a .22 caliber rifle from the vehicle. Antoine Cavan Lawrence fired a shot at the victim and he returned fire. Antoine Cavan Lawrence was shot in the head. He was taken to UNC hospitals in Chapel Hill for treatment. Christopher Sean Grubbs, there's two printings here. I'm going to go with Grubbs. Christopher Sean Grubbs, who drove Antoine Cavan Lawrence and Newsom to the hotel, drove away when he heard the gunshots. Malike Akim Jean Newsom ran away through the parking lot and suffered a gunshot wound to his buttocks and his hand. He was treated and released at Cape Fear Valley Medical Center. Warrants for the same offenses have been issued for Antoine Cavan Lawrence, age 29. If you have any questions about this article, you may call directly Nancy McCleary at 910-486-3568.
All right. This is an opinion from the Fayetteville Observer, Thursday, March 15th, 2018. And if you live in Cumberland County, this is not good. This region's health issues are killing us. This is not the state's healthiest corner. In fact, health outcomes in this region are among the worst in all of North Carolina. In Robeson County, outcomes are the worst in the state, according to the annual County Health Rankings report compiled by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation and the University of Wisconsin Population Health Institute. It's a deadly problem. Differences between the healthiest counties and the least healthy are dramatic. If you live in Robeson County, you've got nearly a 3 times greater likelihood of premature death than if you live in Wake County, the state's healthiest. In Wake, 13% of the residents are in poor or fair health. In Robeson, it's 29%. The average Robeson resident has nearly twice as many poor physical health days as a Wake County resident. The disparity in poor mental health days is only slightly smaller. 12% of the children in Robeson come into this world with low birth rate, while in Wake it's 8%. While health outcomes in Robeson are the worst in the state, the county has plenty of company across this region. Scotland ranks 99th, only 1 position behind Robeson. Columbus is 96th, and Bladen County is 95th. Only Moore County ranks among the healthier of counties, coming in at 22nd in the state, a remarkable position given the number of retirees who live there. But health care in Moore is plentiful and good, and residents are better able to afford it than in many neighboring counties. Cumberland County comes in at 75th in the state for health outcomes, the worst ranking of any of the state's urban counties. This should be alarming to local leaders and to the county's problem-plagued Board of Health. There is a significant common thread in these poor health outcomes: poverty. Health in most cases correlates fairly directly with wealth. Wealthier counties tend to have the best rated health care facilities and practitioners, and plenty of them, and more people with health insurance and the ability to pay for good care. Smoking rates tend to be lower in wealthier counties and exercise rates higher. A wealthier, better educated population is more likely to understand the basics of good nutrition and better able to access fresh, nutritious food. But I don't think they included Fort Bragg in this study.
No, it doesn't sound like it.
It doesn't fit. Okay, and for the poor rural areas around us, health rankings are a reminder that the state has largely abandoned its rural counties. So has good health. Will government move to level the opportunity for good health?
That's a question that's to be answered. You know, what they say? Robeson County had what?
They're the worst in the whole
state.
The whole state.
The whole state.
They're the poorest too.
The poorest too. In Wake County, did you say that they were like number 1?
Number 1.
That's Wake County includes what? Durham, Raleigh, and Chapel Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. And Cary.
Now, what they say they were going to do about it?
They don't know.
It's a study. Oh, yeah. The healthcare officials have to be aware of what's going on.
We have a very weak Board of Health in Cumberland County.
We do?
That's what it says.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what it said. Well, that's amazing.
But I don't think that Fort Bragg is included.
Well, and you know, they probably know that, you know, when you live on Fort Bragg, most people that are soldiers there have great health care.
And they exercise.
And they exercise.
And
that's
they have
right.
money.
Mm-hmm. Well, The time now is 11 o'clock in the morning. It is Thursday. It is the 15th of March 2018. And I would like to remind you that this is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service. Let me say that again. The time now is 11 o'clock in the morning. It's almost 11:01. And it is the 15th of March. It's Thursday. And I would like to remind you that this is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service. It is a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any comments or questions, please call us at 910-672-1600 or call the toll-free number 844-709-5656. I would also like to remind everyone that the 8th annual golf tournament is right around the corner. It's called the We Read Radio, Reading to the Blind Through Radio. It is a partner. We are a partner agency of the United Way, and we are asking for your help with our 8th annual golf tournament, which will be on the 7th of April, 2018. That is a Saturday, with either a whole sponsorship for $100 or a team participation. In an effort to support our mission and continued financial success, we will be hosting our 8th annual golf tournament again this Saturday, 7 April 2018 at Gates 4 Golf and Country Club. It starts at 11 a.m. That's registration. And tee-off time will be at 12 p.m. With your support of $100, your sponsorship will include additional advertisement and hole signage. A corporate sponsorship of $300 will include all of the above, and 4 players will be eligible to play for free. That is the 8th annual golf tournament, part of the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service. We read radio, reading to the blind through the radio. And with that, Nancy, what have you got?
All right, we're going to do the obituaries now. The death notices. Following deaths have been reported. See upcoming editions of the Fayetteville Observer for complete obituary information. In Cumberland County, Lloyd H. Bud Jackson, age 68, of Hope Mills, Pinecrest Funeral and Cremation Services. Rosabelle Davis, 87, of Fayetteville, Wiseman Mortuary. In the Cape Fear region, Thelma McLaurin Hurd, age 80, of Christina, Pennsylvania, formerly of Fayetteville, Herring Funeral Care and Cremations. James C. Johnson, age 70, of Laurenburg, Richard Bowles Funeral Service. Henry Whitted, age 74, of St. Paul's, Herring Funeral Care and Cremations. Nellie Hill of Lumberton, Hill's Funeral Home. Cumberland County, Betty H. Hartley. Betty Pamela Hood Hartley, age 83, passed away Friday, March 9th. For details, please go to BrianLeeFuneralHome.com. Ander Edward A.J. Fayetteville, Ander Edward A.J. Oliphant, Jr., 26 of Fayetteville, died Wednesday, March 7, 2018. Rivers of Living Water. Church, Fayetteville, Butler Funeral Home, Stedman. William Henry Moore of Fayetteville, age 83, died Sunday, March 11, 2018. Wiseman Mortuary. Lee B. Carter. Lee Burt Carter, age 90, passed away at his home in Fayetteville, North Carolina on Sunday, March 11, 2018. Condolences may be sent to the family at reevesfunerals.com. Robert Douglas Trask Sr. from Hamlet. Robert Douglas Doug Trask Sr., age 81, of 708 Oak Avenue, Hamlet, went to his heavenly home Tuesday, March 13, 2018, surrounded by his family at Pruitt Healthcare in Rockingham. Condolences may be made to Harrington Funeral Home. Hollingsworth, Robert Pete Hollingsworth, Jr., Fayetteville. Robert Pete Hollingsworth, Jr., age 55, of 2162 Chipper Street, Fayetteville, died Monday, March 5, 2018. Herring Funeral Care and Cremations. Kathy Brand, age 93, died Tuesday, March 13, 2018. The funeral will be Friday at Westminster Presbyterian Church, Sullivan's Highland Funeral Service. And Linda Rayner, Spring Lake. Linda Rayner, age 55, of Spring Lake, died Monday, March 12, 2018. Adcock Funeral Home and Crematory.
And in the region and elsewhere, Luvinia Taylor Dockery, age 95, of Rayford, died Friday, 2 March 2018. The funeral will be on Friday at 11 a.m. at the Rock Hill Missionary Baptist Church. The visitation will be at the Rock Hill Mission Baptist Church Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And the burial will be at the church cemetery. The Bowie Funeral Home has been entrusted with those funeral services. Burris Sellers of Lake Waccamaw died Tuesday, 3 March 2018. The memorial will be on Friday at 6 p.m. at the Peacock's Chapel. The visitation will be at the Peacock Funeral Home Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. and the Peacock Funeral Home has been entrusted with those services. Helen S. Barnes. A memorial service will be held at the St. Andrew Episcopal Church located at 4512 College Avenue in College Park, Maryland, 20740 on Saturday, 17 March at 11 a.m. In lieu of flowers, gifts may be made to the church or to a charity of your choice, especially those who work with the aging and the vulnerable. The family of Helen S. Barnes may be reached at 4611 Drexel Road, College Park, Maryland, 20740. Ms. Linda DeWar McLaughlin, age 66, of 116 Elm Ridge Drive, Knightdale, formerly of Angier, died Monday, 12 March 2018. The funeral will be on Saturday at 1 p.m. at the Victory Tabernacle located at 7330 NC 27 West in Lillington. The viewing will be at the Dafford Funeral Home located at 50 Tippett Road in Angier on Friday from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. And the burial will be at the Refuge Tabernacle Memorial Gardens located in Lillington. The Dafford Funeral Home of Angier has been entrusted with the funeral services. Sadie Mae Albertson, age 86, of Clinton, died Monday, 12 March 2018. The funeral will be on Thursday at 6 p.m. at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Chapel, located at 1216 West Elizabeth Street in Clinton. The visitation will be 1 hour prior to the service in the Cultural Hall of the church at 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. The burial will be at the Amos Lanier Cemetery in Chinquapin, and the Royal Hall Funeral Home has been entrusted with the funeral services. Leon E. Norris, age 87, of Garland, died Tuesday, 13 March 2018. The funeral will be on Saturday at 10 p.m. at the Garland Pentecostal Free Will Baptist Church. The visitation will be at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. The burial will be at the Garland Cemetery. The Butler Funeral Home of Roseboro has been entrusted with those funeral services. Jerry Carteret of Whiteville died Tuesday, 13 March 2018. The funeral will be on Friday at 3 p.m. at the Beaver Dam Baptist Church. The visitation will be at the Peacock Funeral Home on Thursday from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. The burial will be at the Creech Cemetery. Sergeant First Class Retired A.J. Austin Jr., U.S. Army, age 70, of Lillington, died Monday, 12 March 2018. The visitation will be at the home on Friday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. O'Quinlan Peebles Phillips Funeral Home and Crematory of Lillington has been entrusted with the funeral services. Michael Scott Stanbridge, age 39, of Autryville, died Friday, 2 March 2018. The memorial will be on Saturday at 3 p.m. at the St. Matthew's United Methodist Church. The visitation will be at the St. Matthew's United Methodist Church immediately following the service. Rogers and Brees Funeral Home has been entrusted with those funeral services. Harold DeLeon Underwood, age 74, of Rose Hill, died Tuesday, 13 March 2018. The funeral will be on Saturday at 2 p.m. at the Little Piney Grove Baptist Church. The viewing will be at the Carter Funeral Home on Friday from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. The burial will be at the church cemetery. The Carter Funeral Home of Garland has been entrusted with those funeral services. And this concludes the obituaries for today, 15 March 2018, Thursday.
All right. Going to Billy Graham. The title of this is Use Betrayal of Confidence as a Chance to Learn and Grow. We have a picture of Billy Graham here and an editor's note that this column was completed before Reverend Billy Graham's recent death. And the question is, I feel angry and embarrassed because I asked someone in my church to pray about a problem that I'm having, and almost immediately everyone knew about it. Shouldn't she have respected my privacy? It's the last time I'll ever ask anyone to pray for me. That was from Mrs. K.P. Answer: you don't say if you ask this person to keep your request confidential, but even if you didn't, she should not have shared it without your permission, especially if it was clearly sensitive or embarrassing. The Bible says a gossip betrays a confidence, so avoid anyone who talks too much. From the book of Proverbs, chapter 20, verse 19. Don't let this keep you from asking others to pray for you, however. Prayer is one of our greatest privileges when we know Christ, including the opportunity to be partners with others in prayer. Paul repeatedly asked others to pray for him, especially when he faced opposition or discouragement. Should we not do the same? To some Christians he'd never met, he wrote, I urge you, brothers and sisters, to join me in my struggle by praying to God for me. From the book of Romans, chapter 15, verse 30. Don't let this incident become a barrier between you and others in your church, including this person. Let her know, gently and not in anger, that you were disappointed over what she did, and ask God to help you forgive her and not hold it against her in the future. The Bible says it is to one's glory to overlook an offense. From the book of Proverbs, chapter 19, verse 11. As a footnote, whenever anything disappointing or upsetting happens to us, we should always ask ourselves a simple question. What does God want to teach me through this? It may be patience, or forgiveness, or trust, or anything else. But always ask God to use it to make you more like Christ. Now, readers, you can send your queries to my answer, care of Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, 1 Billy Graham Parkway, Charlotte, North Carolina, 28201, or you may call at 877-2-GRAHAM. And the website for the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association is at billygraham.org, Tribune Media Services.
And here we have a little something for Dear Abby.
I love Dear Abby.
Do you like Dear? Yeah, I like Dear Abby too. It's amazing when you read Dear Abby what kind of people are out there in our society.
You are right.
I mean, yeah, it just makes you wonder. And here is the title: The son throws a tantrum after his wedding gift is cut in half.
Oh my goodness. Huh.
Dear Abby, I was working out of town in a position that paid me a very good salary. So when my adult son proposed to his girlfriend, I told him at that time that I would try, you see, hear that word? I would try to give him a $10,000 wedding gift. Well, guess what? Things changed. I had to return home for good, and my salary, of all things, was cut in half. When I told my son I would not be able to give him his $10,000 for his wedding, but could give him $5,000 instead, he became very upset with me and said, well, you promised that amount to me, and we were counting on the money you were going to give us. Well, Abby, I feel that a gift is a gift. And my inconsiderate, selfish, piggish son and his fiancée should be happy that I'm giving him at least $5,000. After talking it over with several of my friends, all my friends agreed that my son is behaving inappropriately. Well, Abby, I want to tell you a little factoid about myself. I am single and I'm trying to retire in 10 years. Please help me. Your assistance is greatly needed in this dire hour of need. Signed, a salary cut in Pennsylvania. Dear Salary Cut in Pennsylvania, your son's reaction was immature. He should understand that sometimes circumstances cannot change. Can change at times. And if you have not explained to your son why circumstances changed, then you need to give it to him now. And how he reacts to your explanation of why you cannot give him $10,000 and instead will give him $5,000 will tell you whether to even give him a gift at all. What do you think, Nancy?
Selfish.
There's something wrong in Pennsylvania, that's for sure.
You got it.
Dear Abby, I recently took a job working for someone that I knew. And he was my neighbor and attended my church for several years. Oh, well, let me just say, Abby, that we were really never more than just mere acquaintances, like a wave across the fence in a neighborly fashion. Well, after I began working for him, I saw things going on with the other girls in the office that I feel were very inappropriate. Then I stumbled across a sexual online chat he was having with one of his girls. As I scrolled through the feed, it became apparent that my neighbor and one of his employees were having an affair. And it made me so uncomfortable, Abby, that I quit working at his business. We still live in the same community, and he has a beautiful, kind, and very pregnant wife. Should I tell her about his affair? Or should I tell anyone, or should I stay quiet and let this schmuck get away with it? It just makes me sick, and I just don't know what to do, Abby, at this point in time. Signed, Uncomfortable in the West. Dear Uncomfortable in the West, allow me, as Dear Abby, to suggest that what you should do is remain silent. At least for now. The kind and very pregnant wife does not need to be told that her husband is cheating with an employee at this juncture in her pregnant life. Well, after the baby is born, perhaps the very kind and gentle little wife should be told. But I'm guessing that she might know by now. And finally, Dear Abby, please help me. How do I politely tell my partner without hurting my partner's feelings that I don't like his cooking and I should be the one doing all the cooking because I am a more seasoned chef in the kitchen than he is? I am usually the chef and my partner is usually the second in command, which in the past it worked very well. Signed, Seasoned in California. Dear Seasoned in California, here's how to tell him. Skip the part about not liking your partner cooking, which could be very hurtful to him. Ease into it by telling your partner you are considered that you consider that you should both cook together, and it should be a bonding experience. Then say to your partner how much you enjoy taking the lead when the two of you do it together, and how meaningful it is when he helps you, and how much you appreciate it if he would continue to let you be the chef in charge. Readers, you can write to Dear Abby by doing so with this address. Dear Abby, Post Office Box 69440, Los Angeles, California 90069, or you can do it online and write dearabby.com.
You know, the People's Pharmacy isn't here. Well, I'm doing the horoscope by Stella Wilder. Born today. You are likely to be quite popular with other people. You're the kind of individual who can mix and mingle with all sorts without sacrificing any portion of your individuality, while at the same time treating others with respect. Pisces, February 19th through March 20th. You may have to play catch-up today after failing to finish a project. Something is slowing you down. Try to identify it. Aries, March 21st through April 19th. Aries, you're never more confident than when you know just what you are facing and why. Today, this is likely to be the case more than once. Taurus, April 20th to May 20th. You'll find it more than beneficial to keep the lines of communication open with someone far from home. It is a necessity today. In Gemini, May 21st through June 20th, you may have the chance today to follow a road all the way to the end, and what you find there sends you off on another journey. Cancer, June 21st to July 22nd. You may be able to get only a small fraction of what you want today, but that should be enough to keep you going for a long time. Leo, July 23rd through August 22nd. You may be struggling today to answer a question that is really quite simple. All you have to do is sit still and get the lay of the land. Virgo, August 23rd through September 22nd. The help you offer a friend is going to be much more valuable by day's end than you had anticipated. In retrospect, why did you wait so long? Libra, September 23rd through October 22nd. Some believe you make things up as you go along, but you usually engage in a great deal of planning, and today is no exception. Scorpio, October 23rd through November 21st. The clock is ticking, and you haven't even started. What's the hitch? Today you can make up for lost time if you delay no longer. Sagittarius, November 22nd through December 21st. Saggy, just when you thought you had overcome a fear, you are presented with a situation that brings it all back, but temporarily. Capricorn, December 22nd through January 19th. Someone may be trying to shock you in some way, but the truth is that nothing you see or hear today is likely to surprise you that much. Aquarius, January 20th through February 18th. You may think that you're doing things for yourself, when in fact you are doing them to benefit someone else. You will realize this very soon. And this is from 2018 United Feature Syndicate.
And now it's that time again. It's tongue twister time. It's the People's Pharmacy, as written by Joe and Teresa Graydon. Question: I want to share my experience trying to purchase an authorized generic drug. Our doctor did not know what that phrase meant, nor did any of the pharmacists we talked to. We found the label information for the authorized generic online and supplied that to CVS. CVS ordered the drug using the NDC code, but that was over a month ago, and it is still not in stock. Walgreens could not find the NDC code in its computer. In the meantime, we had to go ahead and buy the brand name drug at over $500 for a 30-day supply. The question for you, Joe and Teresa, why is this so difficult? When a brand name, answer. When a brand name medicine loses its patent, the original manufacturer sometimes strikes a deal with the generic drug maker. That allows the generic company to sell the exact same formulation made from the same recipe. Sometimes the authorized generic is made on the same production line as the brand name drug. As you discovered, most health professionals are unaware of this category. That may be in part because the generic drug industry, pharmacies, and the Food and Drug Administration have promoted the idea that generic drugs in general are just as good as their brand name equivalents. You can learn about problems that have occurred with generic drugs and more details on authorized generics in our guide to saving money on medicines. This online resource is available at www.peoplespharmacy.com. The NDC, or the National Drug Code, is a unique number to identify every drug sold in the United States. The Federal Drug Administration maintains an online directory of all national drug codes and identifiers. And now, the next question. We are blanketed by television ads for new medicines. Many refer to increasing risks of contracting tuberculosis or advice against use if you have tuberculosis. What is common among these drugs that necessitates mention of tuberculosis? Answer. The drugs you have seen advertised, such as Enbrel, Humira, and Remicade, are immune system modulators. Doctors prescribe these immune system modulators to them to treat autoimmune conditions such as Crohn's disease, inflammatory bowel disease, rheumatoid arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, and psoriasis. These medications and others, such as Cimzia and Simponi, are effective in dialing down an overactive immune response in which the immune system is attacking body tissue. But we need the immune system to protect us against infection. The pathogen that causes tuberculosis, Mycobacterium tuberculosis, can hide out in your lung cells for decades without being detected. If the immune system is impaired, however, this germ can emerge and thrive, causing a debilitating, contagious, and hard-to-treat infection that can be life-threatening. Tuberculosis is a leading cause of death for people with HIV and AIDS because their immune systems are not functioning properly. That is why there is such a concern for people taking medications that hamper with the normal immune response. And the last question is, I have had terrible burning pains in my left foot and my left leg for many years. They were undiagnosed until a few years ago, when a new doctor diagnosed peripheral neuropathy. He prescribed daily Lyrica. I do not take Lyrica every day as it is too expensive. I take it only when I have an attack. The next day, here's what happens. I am totally disorganized. I can't remember things, and I have twitching all over my body. Could this be a side effect of Lyrica? Answer: yes. Side effects of pregabalin or Lyrica include confusion, dizziness, sleepiness, difficulty walking, edema, blurred vision, dry mouth, constipation, twitching, and tremors. Wow, there's a lot of side effects taking Lyrica. At any rate, if you would like to write to Joe and Teresa Graydon about some kind of a little question about drugs, you can do so at their website. It is www.peoplespharmacy.com.
All right, let's move to the in brief section. Blake Street fire displaces 4. 4 people were displaced this afternoon after a fire gutted a duplex apartment off Ramsey Street near the Veterans Administration Medical Center, the Fayetteville Fire Department said. The fire on the 2000 block of Blake Street near Sherman Street was reported at 12:24 p.m. according to a fire department release. Heavy smoke was coming from the single-story brick structure when firefighters arrived. The occupants were already safely out of the building, the release said. Firefighters were able to knock down the fire in order to search the apartments for any victims. They found 2 dogs, the release said, and treated both of them on the scene. 1 dog responded well, but the second dog was pronounced dead. One of the apartments had damage that required the power to be shut off. The American Red Cross requested to assist the displaced occupants, the release said. The fire appears to have been accidental, but an investigation is continuing, the release said. Damage was estimated at $60,000 by Nancy McCleary. Garage fire causes $30,000 damage by Hirinsai Kwa. Firefighters responded to a residential structure fire at 1812 Calista Circle, 2:30 a.m. Wednesday. First unit to respond reported that the fire was in the garage. Crews extinguished the fire without incident. News release said the fire caused $30,000 worth of damage. The home is in the Williamsburg Plantation subdivision. Fire appears to be accidental, but an investigation is ongoing.
And now I'd like to say that it is 11:39 in the morning on the 15th of March, 2018. It's Thursday morning, and I want to say that this is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service. It is a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University. Our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at 910-672-1600 or call the toll-free number 844-709-5656. In addition, I would like to say that the 8th annual golf tournament is coming up in less than a month from now. In an effort to support our mission and continued financial success, We Read Radio will be hosting the 8th annual golf tournament on Saturday, 7 April 2018 at the Gates 4 Golf and Country Club. Sign-in and registration starts at 11 a.m. and tee time, or tee-off time, will be at 12 p.m. With your support of $100, your sponsorship will include additional advertisement and hold signage. A corporate sponsorship will include all of the above, and 4 players will be eligible to play for free. Remember, that's to mark your calendars, 7 April 2018, that's Saturday. Registration 11 a.m. and tee-off time will be at 12 p.m. Your radio hosts today are Clark and
Nancy.
And we are proud to serve you today.
Toys R Us said to plan liquidation. That makes me sad. I like that store.
Yeah, we saw that this morning on the television, and I felt the same way. It's like a little icon in the United States.
I know. From New York, this is from the Associated Press by Ann D'Innocencio. Toys R Us management has told its employees that it will sell or close all of the U.S. stores, according to a toy industry analyst who spoke to several employees who were on the call Wednesday. Jim Silver, a New York-based longtime toy industry expert, said Toys R Us CEO David Brandon told the employees the company's plan is to liquidate all of its U.S. stores, and after that it could do a deal with its Canadian operation to run some of the U.S. stores. CEO also told employees the chain was also likely to liquidate its operations in France, Spain, Poland, and Australia, according to Silver. The Wayne, New Jersey-based company, which has 30,000 U.S. employees, declined to comment. The chain, known for its "I'm a Toys R Us kid" jingle, I'm a Toys R Us kid jingle, and Jeffrey the Giraffe mascot, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection last fall, saddled with $5 billion in debt that hurt its attempts to compete as shoppers moved to Amazon and huge chains like Walmart. It pledged then to stay open, but had weak sales during the critical holiday season as nervous customers shied away. In January, it announced plans to close about 180 stores over the next couple months, leaving it with about 700 stores. The company's troubles have affected toy makers Mattel and Hasbro, which are big suppliers to the chain, but the likely liquidation will have a bigger impact on smaller toy makers who rely more on the chain for sales. However, many have been trying to diversify in recent months as they worried about the chain's survival. Toys R Us was also hurt by the shift to mobile devices, taking up more playtime. But steep sales declined over the holidays, and thereafter were a deciding factor, said Silver, who is editor-in-chief of toy review site ttpm.com. Company didn't do enough to emphasize that it was reorganizing but not going out of business, Silver said. That misperception led customers to its stores because they didn't think they would be able to return gifts. Now the $11 billion in sales still happening at Toys R Us each year will disperse to other retailers like Amazon and discounters, analysts say. Other chains, seeing that Toys R Us was vulnerable, got more aggressive. JCPenney opened toy sections last fall in all 875 stores. Target and Walmart have been expanding their toy selections. Even Party City is building up its toy offerings. Amazon may pick up the dollars, but won't deliver the experience needed for a toy retailer to survive and thrive in today's market, said Mark Rosenberg, a toy marketing executive. Toys R Us had dominated the toy store business in the 1980s and early 1990s, when it was one of the first of the category killers, a store totally devoted to one thing. Its scale gave it leverage with toy sellers, and it disrupted general merchandise stores and mom-and-pop shops. Children sang along with commercials about the biggest toy store there is. But the company lost ground to discounters like Target and Walmart, and then to Amazon, as even nostalgic parents sought deals elsewhere. Global Data Retail estimates that nearly 14% of toy sales were made online in 2016, more than double the level 5 years ago. Toys R Us still has hundreds of stores, and analysts estimate it still sells about 20% of the toys bought in the United States. Wasn't able to compete with a growing Amazon. The toy seller said in bankruptcy filings that Amazon's low prices were hard to match, and it said its Babies R Us chain lost customers to the online retailer's convenient subscription service, which lets parents receive diapers and baby formula at their doorstep automatically. Toys R Us blamed its old technology for not offering its own subscriptions. Toys R Us also struggled with debt, since private equity firms Bain Capital, KKR & Company, and Vornado Realty Trust took it private in a $6.6 billion leveraged layout in 2005. The plan had been to take the company public again, but weak sales have prevented that from happening. With such debt levels, Toys R Us did not have the financial flexibility to invest in its business. The company closed its flagship store in Manhattan's Times Square, a huge tourist destination that featured its own Ferris wheel, about 2 years ago. Goodbye, Toys R Us.
Yes, goodbye. Sad to see it go. And now State Senator Ben Clark disputes a resident's complaint. State Senator Ben Clark on Wednesday vociferously disputed an allegation by election opponent Naveed Aziz that he has moved out of Senate District 21. If State Senator Ben Clark were to live outside the district, he would not be eligible to serve in the seat or run for re-election. Naveed Aziz is challenging State Senator Ben Clark in the Democratic primary. On Tuesday, Spring Lake Mayor Pro Tem James O'Gara filed a complaint with the Hope County Board of Elections that contends that Ben Clark lives in a house he had built recently in the Vander area east of Fayetteville. That home is outside of District 21, which includes part of Cumberland County and all of Hope County. Naveed Aziz on Tuesday issued a news release promoting O'Gara's, that's Mayor Pro Tem James O'Gara of Spring Lake. She released a complaint and called for Ben Clark to drop out of that race. State Senator Ben Clark last year described the new home in Vander as his second home. He said he maintains as his residence his family's home in the Rockfish area of Hoke County west of Fayetteville. Ben Clark's new home drew attention last year when a Senate committee voted to alter the District 21 boundaries, specifically to put that home into the district. That version of the District 21 map was overturned in court in a lawsuit regarding the racial composition of the district. New boundaries were set by the court, and the new house is in District 19. State Senator Ben Clark's house in Rockfish remains in District 21. In a letter to his supporters on Wednesday, State Senator Ben Clark said he sent the NC State Board of Elections a packet of incontrovertible evidence that demonstrates that the Rockfish home is his residence. State Senator Ben Clark lists the address of the home in the letter and asked for campaign donations to be sent to his home of residence. This is the second time that Naveed Aziz and Ben Clark have run against each other, and the second time that their campaign has seen accusations that the candidates don't live in District 21. In the 2016 election, State Senator Ben Clark alleged that Naveed Aziz lived in Harnett County, north of District 21, where her family owned a house, and at that time, Naveed Aziz said she was renting a home in Spring Lake inside of District 21. Naveed Aziz countered with allegations that State Senator Ben Clark in 2016 was living in Raleigh, where his wife had a home. Very interesting, isn't it?
It is.
Well, if you have questions about this article, you may write to Paul Wolverton at online, pwolverton@fayobserver.com, or you can call to discuss this with him at 910-486-3512.
All right, we have candidate files report on an opponent. It's written by Nancy McCleary, staff writer. Carlton Sally, a candidate vying for the Republican nomination in the Cumberland County Sheriff's race, says one of his opponents is behind a website that has put out false information about his career. Sally filed an incident report with the sheriff's office on Tuesday alleging that GOP rival LaRue Wyndham and Harry Stegall, a Wyndham supporter, are putting out false resumes about his work background. Sally said Stegall set up a bogus website, CarltonSallyForSheriff.com, that attacks his work record and his character. I did, Stegall said Wednesday when asked if he set up the website. I think the people of Cumberland County need to know the credentials of anyone being elected for sheriff. The incident report said Sally advised a gentleman by the name of LaRue Wyndham is aware of the false allegations and believes he is participating with Mr. Stegall, the report said. Stegall said Wyndham did not know about the website in advance. In the report, Sally said he received information that Stegall was passing out false resumes. Sally advised the resumes are not true, and he did not give anyone permission to disseminate some, the report said. Stegall handed out copies of what he said were verification of Sally's law enforcement career at a candidate forum sponsored by the Fayetteville Republican Women's Club, held at the headquarters library last week. It featured the 4 candidates vying for the GOP nomination to run against the Democratic nominee in November. The concerns voiced by Sally are not crimes, said Lieutenant Sean Swain, Sheriff's Office spokesman. Stegall, who lives in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, lived in Cumberland County from 1990 to 98 and is a friend of Wyndham. Stegall and Wyndham allege that Sally is misrepresenting his record of law enforcement work. Stegall said he contacted the various agencies where Sally has worked to verify his record. Under North Carolina law, information that can be released about public employees are the same: the name, address, current and past salaries, contact terms, date of employment, current title, changes in work status, disciplinary status, and if a dismissal is involved, and a copy of the final notice stating the reason for dismissal. Stegall and Wyndham said Sally is upset because his credentials are being questioned. "I'm not going to tolerate this behavior from somebody," Sally said Tuesday. "I'm not going to tolerate being attacked by false information." Sally said he will ask the Cumberland County GOP to bar the supporter from attending campaign events. "Are you freaking kidding me?" Wyndham said of Sally's intentions. "Tell him to take his pacifier and go home." In addition to Sally and Wyndham, Fayetteville police officer Victor Starling and Charlie Baxley, a former Fayetteville police officer and Cumberland County deputy, are vying for the Republican nomination. The winner will face the Democratic nominee. 3 people are running for that slot: Sheriff Ennis Wright, Jeff Marks, and Denny Davis. Now, staff writer Nancy McCleary can be reached at nmcleary@fayobserver.com, or you can call up Nancy at 486-3568.
In New York, Walmart's online same-day grocery is ready. Walmart is expanding its same-day online grocery delivery service to more than 40%, that's 40% of U.S. households or 100 metro areas by year-end as it tries to keep pace with online leader Amazon.com. The service is currently available in 6 markets. Tom Ward, Vice President of Walmart's digital operations, says the retail giant is powering the expansion of its same-day delivery service using its online grocery pickup program. That service uses personal shoppers to select items and then take them to shoppers' cars parked at the curb. And in Detroit, loose steering wheels can lead to a huge Ford recall. Under pressure from U.S. regulators, Ford is recalling nearly 1.4 million mid-sized cars in North America because the steering wheels can detach from the steering column and drivers could lose control. And that's not good. I can't imagine driving down the road and your steering wheel pops off into your hands. Isn't that something?
Yeah, I'll see.
The recall covers certain Ford Fusion and Lincoln MKZ cars from the years 2014 through 2018 model years. Ford says steering wheel bolts can loosen over time. The company says it knows of 2 crashes and 1 injury caused by this problem of steering wheels coming off of the steering column. This concludes our broadcast of the Fayetteville Observer. Your radio hosts today have been Clark and
Nancy.
And at 2 p.m., please listen to the Southern Pines Pilot. At 4 p.m., you can hear the Off the Bookshelf. Additionally, you will hear a rebroadcast of today's Fayetteville Observer tonight at 9 p.m. We will now join the Raleigh Network for additional news of interest. We thank you for tuning us in. We've enjoyed being with you this morning, and we wish that you have a wonderful day. And do not forget the 8th annual golf tournament.